Welcome to My Zone Online School. My name is Linda Shipanga, and welcome to my friend. Today's lesson is grade 7 science. But before we start with our lesson, remember to put on your mask, and let's also sanitize our hands. Let's rub it through our fingers and around our hands. And also do not forget the social distance on the sides and to the front as well. Now, today's lesson is health education, sexuality, and sexual health. Please turn to page 23. Health education, sexuality, and sexual health. Now, let's quickly look at our competencies. Identify from diagrams the different stages of sexual development from infancy to old age. Investigate and report on different sources of information and support about sexual health and sexuality. Explain what constitutes sexual health, be it physical or emotional. Explain why sexual health is important. Now the vocabulary. Sexuality. Sexuality is the physical and emotional readiness for sexual intercourse. Sexual health. Being physically, mentally, socially healthy in relation to sexuality. Let's turn to page 24, where we have different diagrams or pictures on the stages of the human development. Now, on the chalkboard, we have different stages of sexual development. The first stage is a baby or infant, and then we have the childhood. The next stage is the adolescent, and the next stage will be the adulthood, as you can see, and the last stage is the old age. Now, let's move on to the sources of information and support about sexual health and sexuality. You know, as young children, as adolescents, you need to have information on sexual health and your sexuality. But your friends are not really that well equipped with information. So you need to visit different places that can offer you with good quality information. These places, we call them the sources of information on sexuality and sexual health. Now, these places are the clinics and hospitals, the Lifeline and Childline, the Women and Child Protection Unit. Now we are moving on to what constitutes sexual health, be it physical or emotional. What constitutes sexual health, you shouldn't only be physically healthy, be it you preventing yourself from getting STDs or sexually transmitted diseases. You should also have a positive and a respectful approach to sexuality and sexual relationships. That's basically what constitutes sexual health. Now, why is it important for you to be healthy sexually? So that you can live a happy life, to avoid getting infections, and to avoid unwanted pregnancies. Let's turn to page 25. On page 25, you can find your activity. This is activity 1. Number 1, identify the stages of sexual development from the diagrams below. You should just fill in the spaces provided. Number 2, explain why sexual health is important. I hope you have enjoyed this lesson. And please remember to sanitize your hands and always put on your mask. So goodbye.
Hi everyone, I'm Joshi. And make sure to always make a helicopter circle, stretching your arms out and spinning around like me. And make sure you're not touching anyone while doing this. Goodbye.
There's no price like the ShopRite price, which means you'll get low prices on everything you need. Like 500 grams Rama Original Fat Spread, only $19.99. And 100 mils Colgate Triple Action Toothpaste, just $13.99. The ShopRite price, the price you can trust, always.
Hello, welcome to my Zone Online School. My name is Linda Shipanga, and I'm not alone. I'm with Pomwene. Welcome, Pomwene. And let's always remember to put on our masks. And we should always sanitize our hands in between the fingers as well. And do not forget the social distance. So today's lesson will be, it's Science Grade 7, Health Education, Sexuality, and Sexual Health. All right, let's turn to page 23, where we'll be looking at our basic competencies. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to discuss and compare methods of maintaining sexual health. And you should be able to identify risky sexual practices. And you should also be able to describe the impact of risky sexual practices on the individual, family, community, and society. Now, the vocabulary, these are the words that the new words that you have to learn. Risky, the word risky means involving the possibility of something bad happening. Impact, the influence that one thing has on something else. To maintain means to keep something. Now let's look at the methods of maintaining sexual health. As you can see on the chalkboard, we have different there are pictures on different methods of maintaining sexual health. The first one is abstinence. To abstain basically meaning to say no to sex. To all the sexual activities, you should totally abstain, you should totally say no. And then we move to the next one, is faithfulness. You must be faithful to one trustable partner. In this method of maintaining sexual health, if one or both of the partners are not faithful to each other, and then they have sexual intercourse with somebody else, which is, for example, unprotected sex, then they can contract an STD or STI, which is sexually transmitted infections, and then they can pass it on to their partner. So this faithfulness is mostly suitable for married couples. And then we move to condom use. So we have different types of condoms. You can find the condoms at the clinics or hospitals. And then we have two types of condoms for male condoms, and the female condoms, which are called the femidoms. So you can still make use of the condoms. The condoms act as a barrier between the two partners. Just the same way as the doctors are putting on gloves to protect themselves and their patients from getting germs, it works the same way. So the condoms traps sperms so that they do not go to the next person. The sperms do not enter the woman, so she will not be able to contract any infections, and then she will not be able to fall pregnant. Among these three methods of maintaining sexual health, abstinence is the best and the most effective method. And you should actually abstain. All right? Now, let's quickly turn to page 24, whereby we'll be looking at the risky sexual practices. What are risky sexual practices? These are actions that put you in danger and that have a negative impact on your sexual health. What are these risky sexual practices? Sex without a condom, multiple sexual partners, when you have more than one sexual partner. For a boy, maybe you have three girlfriends, or for a girl, you have maybe 2 boyfriends, for instance, and you are having sexual intercourse with all of them. Those are multiple sexual partners. Sugar daddies and sugar mummies. Let's look at the sugar daddies. What are sugar daddies? Sugar daddies are older men, much older men, that usually engage into sexual relationships with much younger girls. They give them money and they give them gifts, and they have sexual intercourse with them. Sugar mummies are older, much older ladies that have sexual intercourse or sexual relationship with much younger boys. And they give them gifts, they give them money and all sorts kind of things. Sometimes they even give them a lift to school in their cars. And then we look at the sex workers. Sex workers, these are people that sell sex for money. They go at the lights, for example, the robots there, and then they find men. They get into their cars according to what they have agreed on, and then they get into men's cars, and then when they go to their place, have sexual intercourse with them, and then they get paid for having sexual intercourse with different kind of men. And those activities are very risky because now you are having sex with this person, having sex with another person. Imagine you having sexual intercourse with 5 different kind of people. It will be so difficult to tell each one to put on a condom. Okay, you come to this one, put on a condom, at the end of the day, you are like, I'm getting used to this one now, and then it's not always easy to convince now each and every person to use a condom. At the end of the day, you might just end up having unprotected sexual intercourse, and then that's really, really risky. Let's move on to the impacts. These are physical and emotional impacts of risky sexual practices on the individual, on the family, community, and society. When you engage in these risky sexual practices, it doesn't only affect you, it affects your family, it affects the community, and just the society at large. Your neighbors. What are the physical impacts? Death. You can die. When you contract diseases like HIV, you might die. And then it also leads to spreading of diseases. You pass the disease to this person and then to the next person, just like that. It also leads to unwanted pregnancies. And the other impact as well are looking after a baby of a sick person. Now you are sick, your parents or your neighbors or just your family members have to look after that baby because you are sick. Or when you have died, now people have to look after your children or your baby when you have died. It can be the community, yes, or your family members. Now, what are the emotional impacts? This is the hurt of feelings. When you are, for example, when you are sick, it affects people. People are hurt. Everybody's thinking about it, and it affects them really badly. Okay? So now that's our lesson on different kinds of methods of maintaining sexual health, risky sexual practices, and the physical and emotional impacts. Okay, so you should be able to do this activity on page 25. Quickly go to page 25 so that we can look at this activity. A, discuss and compare methods of maintaining sexual health. Discuss and compare methods of maintaining sexual health. Those are 3 methods that I want you to answer there. And B, identify risky sexual practices. C, describe the impact, be it physical and emotional altogether. These are the impact of risky sexual practices on the individual, on the family, community, and society. Okay, let's quickly recap on our lesson for today, which is sexual health. And then we looked at the methods of maintaining sexual health, which is abstinence, faithfulness, and condom use. And the risky sexual practices are sex without a condom, multiple sexual partners, sugar daddies and sugar mummies, sex workers. The impacts, or be it physical or emotional, of the risky sexual practices on the family, individual, community, and society. It can lead to death, spreading of diseases, unwanted pregnancies, and looking after a baby of a sick person or a dead person. And this can also lead to hurt of feelings of family members and just the community at large. I hope you have enjoyed today's lesson. So let's not forget to always wear our masks, sanitize, and then do not remember the social distance. As from me and Pomwene, it's goodbye.
Hi everyone, I'm Shashi. And Simon says, don't touch your face, your eyes, your nose, and your mouth unless your hands are super clean. Bye!
In a time of uncertainty, false news, and fear, learn on. While the world scrambles to make new sense, while the experts turn around in circles, trying to find their way back to tomorrow. Learn on. When classrooms become empty cathedrals and the trees start to bear answers, learn on. Learn on until every parent is a teacher and every teacher is a mentor. Learn on until you cross the boundaries of your mind, until you grow eyes and sprout wings. My friend, learn on. On sidewalks, on the floor, at the neighbors, in the market, in hallways, in churches, under trees, at kitchen tables, in riverbeds. Learning doesn't only happen between four walls. Learning happens in the small space of your enormous, beautiful mind. Start where you are. Use what you have. Learn on one. Invite learning in.
Beautiful souls, this is Nikita Winkler and I am here to share easy tools for stretching that you can do just about anywhere. This is a demonstration, so what's most important is that you take the time that your body needs in each position to release its tension. Let's get started. In this session, we will be massaging the feet using a tennis ball or anything alike. You can do this sitting or standing. So first I'm going to place the ball in the center of the foot and I'm going to press into the ball to feel the foot open up, and then I'm going to start rolling the ball vertically from the inside of the foot to the center and to the outside, and I'm giving enough pressure to feel tension release. Next, I'm going to take the ball to the front of the foot, press into it, feel the ball of the foot open up, and then I'm just going to do horizontal motion, side to side. Last, I'm going to place my toes on the ground and the ball close to the heel of the foot, underneath the heel of the foot. And again, same, horizontally, side to side. And that's about it. If you feel a lot of tension, then just stop there, press into it, and hold it until the tension releases. The benefits of this foot massage is that the body is covered in connective tissue, which starts in the feet. So by releasing tension in your feet, you're actually releasing tension in the rest of the body. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to breathe into your feet, and happy stretching.
Namibia is known for its beautiful wide open landscapes. However, these deserted spaces also pose numerous educational challenges in our country's rural areas. Because of this, many learners are denied access to proper teaching and learning. At EduVision, we believe that education is the starting point to a journey of endless possibilities.
Soon and very soon, we are going to see e-learning. Soon and very soon, we are going to...
The plan for EduVision was to identify areas in Namibia that do not have the proper learning resources, a working school or an education center.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, we are going to see e-learning. No more diet, no more.
My name is Philip Smith. I'm the principal of Educate Academy in Otjiwarongo. The project EduVision, the e-learning program, started in 2017. With a project like this, obviously telecommunication, internet connection is a major thing that needs to be sorted out, a logistical challenge. And the fact that we chose Chunkwe Secondary School as the first school didn't make it easier for ourselves. It's very far from Otjiwarongo, it's far from Buntuk. So the internet connection was a big challenge first of all. So with the help of the telecommunications expert Paratas, they made this dream come true with internet connections via Buntuk, Otjiwarongo to Chunkwe and then back, the whole process. Like I said, it's interactive whiteboard, so the internet speed, capacity of the connectivity and so forth plays a major role. And so Paratas made this dream come true, and they were on board from the first moment. So we're grateful for Paratas.
The project offers teaching assistance of a high standard in science to rural secondary schools within the learner's own community by means of e-learning. This entails the following: live transmissions of lessons from an equipped teacher in a different location to the students in rural areas, students using their own cell phone, tablet or computer to recall each lesson, and interactive lessons as well as the use of a smartboard as a teaching aid.
So if you look ahead at the next 3 years, we get information from the Ministry of Education. The future is very bright. So I think there's a lot of schools who can benefit from this program. Like I mentioned before, finances obviously plays a major role in a project like this. So we're very thankful for all the sponsors that are on board and still on board after almost 3 years of the project. So as long as people from the private sector can get involved, I think we can reach many schools in Namibia. because this project made a good start now. We've already seen some positive results, and we can just call on all the private sector corporate sponsors to come on board and join in this very, very positive project.
It is EduVision's goal to prepare and guide learners in order to make the modern world they are living in accessible to all.
My name is Magdalena Neoma. I'm 18 years old and I'm doing my first year at UNAM Command campus, and I completed my grade 12 at Tsongwe Senior Secondary School. I'm doing education, so I'm gonna teach at Tsongwe Secondary School because there I really need to go there and motivate the learners. EduVision helped me a lot. It assisted us in teaching for mathematics, physical science, and biology. And it also, we get to exchange learning from other schools like Educate, whereby they teach us, and that's the most thing that we benefited from. Studying without EduVision was so challenging. And when EduVision was introduced at our school, things become more easier. The time where EduVision was not introduced, we were so slow in learning. And when EduVision came, introduced at our school, my learning speed increases. Things were kind of boring. And when EduVision came, my mind changed the way I think. I'm really grateful for what EduVision gave us. Our class of 2019 was the first group to make it, to perform very well at Tsongwe Senior Secondary School. So it should keep up the spirit. We need that. It should continue to support us.
EduVision aspires to ensure that equal opportunity is offered to every learner in rural areas to tap into his or her own potential while working in an environment which views disadvantages not as obstacles but as unique attributes that can be regarded as powerful assets when given the proper opportunity. At EduVision, we believe that dreams are the foundation of knowledge and hope always triumphs over experience.
No more problems. Everything is proper. EduVision, baby.
I'm here for say tutoring.
Maar is tijd dat ik vrede maak met Patricia.
Wat? Toch is land uit. Ek gaan nie eens probeer my verskoning uit te dink nie.
Mamela mfana, good manegi, show down in Opi Coffee tomorrow.
Shop right.